All right. So, hey everyone, this is Modest Millions, and today we have a special live stream where our community is getting a one-on-one Q&A with the creator of a absolutely amazing upcoming program and website, the Saddlebag Exchange, which has tons of features for goblins they'll be interested in. So let's get right into this. So let's just start off. Endo, who am I talking with, and what kind of have you created and why?
Yeah, hi, and thanks so much for having me and talking to me. So yeah, I'll just get into it. So I'm independent. I'm the creator of the Saddlebag Exchange, and basically it's a website, it's Discord, it's a World of Warcraft add-on, and it's just generally a bunch of financial tools and trading tools that I've designed for various MMOs that I've played. So I've been playing WoW since Mists of Pandaria, and definitely in Shadowlands, I got really into auction house trading and auction house flipping and while I was waiting for Shadowlands, I saw this really cool YouTube video by this YouTuber called the Spiffing Brit about um, server to server market board trading in Final Fantasy 14. And it sounded like it was pretty fun, and I was just bored waiting for Shadow for the next World of Warcraft expansion. And the player who was actually did the thing with that YouTuber was forming some kind of trading community, so I'm like, all right, this seems like a try. It's only $15 to pick up Final Fantasy. I'll give it a go, And so I do want to focus on WoW. We will spend most of the time on WoW, but just to go over the history of the site. It did start with Final Fantasy. That's why you go on. There's a chocobo on the thing, and it's a
Oh
saddlebag for
yeah.
the saddle. Chocobo saddlebag. That's why people gave it the name. So we'll just cover that like a tiny bit first, and then we'll get into all the World of Warcraft stuff. So, not sure if you or your viewers are aware, but in Final Fantasy, you can do this really cool thing where you can travel to other servers in your region. So, if you're on a North American server, you can travel to any North American server for free in game, and you can buy items off of their market board, which is the Final Fantasy version of the auction house. And then you could sell that on your own server for a profit. So you can arbitrage between all of those, and it's actually really fun. And I got into doing this with the little community, but I was really disappointed that there really isn't like a TSM or an auctionator or any similar add-ons that help make the whole process easier. Because I think it was just a very new thing. They only recently added full region travel. I think it was maybe just server to server travel was a very new thing. So for someone like myself who never really played the game, I really had no idea what it was. I didn't even really fully level up. I just got to level. You have to get to level 20 before you can actually use the market board in Final Fantasy. So I just got just enough that I could trade, and I really had no game knowledge to go off of. So I didn't really know what I should be trading. And the only tool available in Final Fantasy is this thing called Universalis. Now, Universalis is it's a great app and everything, but it's not like TSM. It's just a raw database, more or less, of sales data and listings data. It's a lot like how Orbos Exchange is,
Yeah.
where just imagine that, but without any of the fancy graphs or anything. The only thing they really show is what are the listings, and the difference is in Final Fantasy, the game itself has a sale history, which is really cool that there is like a sale history to go with whatever listings there are, but it's just raw data. So I can look up individual items or stuff, but there really wasn't any statistics or anything to go off of and figure out, well, what should I actually be buying and selling and everything.
Yeah, you pretty
But
much
the
have to
thing
work
is,
that on your own whenever you try to do stuff like that. Because I remember
well,
whenever I was trying to do stuff on the market boards, the same that I do with the auction house and WoW, it was pretty much like my own Excel spreadsheets
well,
and stuff on the
Well, here's
side.
the thing. You used to be able to have to do that.
Yeah.
No longer. Because so I'm a programmer by trade, and they have a really, really good so Universalis, they have a really good developer API that had all the data that you needed to do all this stuff. Like just calculate what's the average sale price or something, or like how fast does it sell. It's just no one had done that before. So that's literally, I was just like, well, there's no TSM. Well, I'll make a TSM for it, and that's basically what it is. So Saddlebag Exchange is more or less a trade skill master, but for Final Fantasy. So we started off with basic things just by finding like, what items could you actually trade that like have basically start out with a search to see what can you trade that will actually be cheaper on another server versus your home server. And then we added some simple stuff like looking for the sale rates and looking for sale prices, and then adding filters and all these different tools along the way to just make it so that you could actually like trade in Final Fantasy, and it wasn't a total headache. Like, there's a major thing that as a WoW player, I felt was very frustrating in Final Fantasy, which is just checking if your auctions are undercut. Like, we're just so kind of spoiled in WoW, where you just have Auctionator and TSM, they just have one button, like, click it. Oh, I'm undercut on all this stuff. Cancel it. Go to your mailbox. Take it. Another button. Click. Post. 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 There's none of that in Final Fantasy, especially because when you update your auctions in Final Fantasy, you actually have to take your retainer, your little NPC that sells the items for you, off the market board. So if you want to update one listing, you have to stop selling everything else. So the process of you have to go in, check if you're undercut, it takes a minute, and all that time, if somebody wanted to buy your stuff that whole time, if somebody came along and you're just updating your stuff, you lost those sales.
Yep.
So that was a big thing that we did. Is first off, we have the trading search, which just shows you like what are some good things to trade. And then the second thing is this undercut checker, where it's basically like an undercut alert system. And that's what all of the WoW stuff is actually kind of built off of, the price alerts and everything we'll get into, and the add-on. It's very similar because it's just the same bot running different API calls. But for Final Fantasy, man, it feels so different when you play with it. It actually feels like you're cancel scanning in WoW when you use our like undercut alerts, because in Universalis it's constantly streaming versus Blizzard data, which comes out once per hour. So that's where it kind of started out. But then eventually I just kind of started hearing about Dragonflight and all the cool stuff that was going on and all the cool profession changes, and I'm like, whoa, all right, this expansion is for me, man. All right, I think I'm gonna pick it up and I'm gonna start making some tools. So I started out before coming in with just some basic stuff, like the same kind of server to server trading stuff. It's not as useful in WoW as it is in Final Fantasy, because you have to pay for server transfers and everything. So we do have that in the site, and we have little basic things like figure out, oh, what can you buy out and repost and flip and then make a profit within 2 sales, and those simple little tools we started out with. But as I started playing and I started doing a lot more stuff in Dragonflight, I started developing all this stuff along the way, and it just kind of led to these two features we have right now, which I think people really enjoy. And those are the two: the market overview and the commodity shortage features,
So
which
let's
I think is your next
yeah
question.
let's
So let's
yeah
get into
let's
that.
let's get into the commodity shortage, because that's one of the big ones for me. So I'm over here on the website now, and I'll have all
Yeah.
this linked. Everybody can get to the website on description below whenever everything's up and done. So I'm over here now, and I'm just going to click into World of Warcraft,
Yep.
and it shows me everything already. And I see the Dragonflight market
Would,
share overview and the commodity
would you be able to
shortage.
stream it too, so I could see as well? Because I don't see
Oh
it.
yeah, absolutely. Hold on a sec. Let me
Yeah.
grab that.
Yeah. Let's do that.
Screen
Unless you're in
share.
your Discord, and I should hop in your Discord channel or something. I don't know.
Nah, 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 nah. Let's see.
Okay, that's something else. All right, cool.
Boom.
Let me get into this. All right, cool. Yeah.
Sweet. So let's start out with the commodity shortage features here. So if you just had to give me like a really brief description of what this is, what would you say?
Yeah. Okay. So basically, all right. If you've ever been on the Orbos exchange, there's two graphs: the price and the quantity graph. And you'll notice the red quantity line. Whenever that red quantity line hits the bottom of the graph, the price just shoots up. So that's what this finds. It finds things that red line is headed towards the bottom, and pretty soon it's possibly going to go way up in price.
So basically, this is like a candlestick graph that you use for stocks, but just a commodities in the game.
Bingo. And we're just doing it for cause right now. We are going to do it for single server items as well, but it's just a lot more data sets. Where these, it's two databases, and that covers everyone in the EU and everyone in the US. We're going to work on like local server stuff, like BOAs and recipes, but it's just more data to deal with. So we're just kind of starting out with commodities.
Okay.
But yeah.
So after that, like one of the things here, whenever you're trying to get it completely set up, so explain to me what the rest of it is. Pretty just obvious kind of language, but then you have the two at the top. So like minimum desired average price is just going to be like the average
Yep.
price of the item, correct?
Yeah. Let's see. So yeah, I'll just get into that. So those two values at the top, Those are the TSM data, and that basically just helps filter down the items you want. So what we're looking at there is that those are just my defaults, and those are just random numbers I picked, and that's why this is calculated. You can change those to whatever you want. What that is it's going to show us only items that TSM is saying that it sells for at least on average 20 gold or more. So we might find things that sell for 25 gold. We might find things that sell for 2,000 gold or 20,000, but you're not going to show like all of the like little grade 1 and 2 stuff that sell for 5 gold. You're not That's going to be filtered out. And it's the
Okay.
same way with the sales per day is we're looking for something that sells pretty fast, at least 200 sales per day according to TSM. Uh so we want something that's moves fairly quickly. So, so it has at least a few sales per hour.
Okay. So then if we just run this that we have right now, so we have desired minimum price at 20, minimum sales 200, and the rest of
Yep.
it all set. I'll just come over here and set this up.
And I would note one thing: if you click any of those little icons, those eyes right there, you'll see next to everything, and
Gives
it
you a
has a
nice
little
little,
explanation after.
yep.
Yeah, nice little blurb.
So then so I set up my server here, so we have Bleeding Hollow, and then I'll just do a search off of this.
Yeah, and we'll talk about these. And it is experimental. We'll get into all the details and the math behind it in time. But yeah, let's pick a good item that we might think might be good. Oh yeah, like okay, so the bracer of leech, is that a devotion? Yeah, check it out, that devotion of leech. Because for me, I'm a crafter. I want to look for things that I can craft, so I can craft this devotion of leech. So I'm interested when that's going to have a shortage because I want to sell my devotion of leech for more than, let's see, the current price is 155. I don't want to sell for 155. I want to sell it for like a lot more. And
Oh,
that's what this is for. That's how I use it. So what I would probably do from here is I usually go on Oribos Exchange and let's verify. Let's see what's going on with this. And that's why
okay.
there's a little link
So we'll go right over
next to there.
here. So the Devotion of Leech here, and we'll click that.
And let's see what's going on with its quantity and its price graph. Look at that quantity graph. Look how that thing is just it's so close to the bottom.
So it's basically just catching that this is your algorithm is catching that this is basically about to rebound.
Yeah, because you look at all that red line throughout the past 2 weeks, and this is like really, really low. And the price is super low, first off.
Yep.
And because the price is low, not enough people are making it. And because not enough people are making it, that red line is slowly heading towards that absolute bottom. There's none left. And when it gets really low, it's probably going to go. There's only 155 of these. Okay, so, and that's why we provide a lot more statistics in here. So let's go back to SaddleBag and let's look up some more statistics on this. So we're looking at this thing. TSM is saying the Devotion of Leech sells 19 per hour. I mean, that just might be recently. It's not really selling that much. I know this. If you caught this on a Tuesday, it would definitely be selling for a lot
Oh,
faster than
yes,
that.
absolutely.
But we can see that even if we go there on the quantity available, there should be it's not the best table, but there's a lot of average quantity.
Average
Should be one.
quantity. Let's see
There
here.
should be like a percentage. Maybe you might have to scroll to the right a little bit.
Let's see.
There you got it. I'm just trying to let's see.
Oh, no.
Quantity percent available.
There
Yeah.
you go.
There's only
8%.
8 per. So usually the average quantity you can see right there is 1900. There's 155, which means there's only 8% of what there usually is of this one item.
So let me ask you
And
this, because this is definitely one of the things I was interested in, and you don't have to go into exact specifics if you can't. But
Mhm.
how does your algorithm pick up
Oh,
and be able to tell me
yeah.
like the actual estimated hours until shortage?
Oh, I'll tell you this, and it's very, very simple. Okay, so you see that the current quantity remaining, it says, is 155. The quantity decline rate per hour is 61. That means, so basically take the difference of what's the quantity 6 hours ago versus 5 hours ago, 5 hours ago versus 4 hours ago, 4 hours versus, and it's just, 1 hour minus the next one. And then we
Gotcha.
take all of those, average them together, and this is what we get, is that really the average change in quantity is negative 61, so it's going down. 61. So there's 61 going down per hour, and this could be very many things. It could be people buying it, versus people posting it, auctions expiring, auctions that people are just canceling and forgetting to put back up. There's a lot of different reasons, but really that's the thing, is that the TSM sale rate is kind of this obscure thing, and you don't really know exactly where it comes from. And I've heard that it's somewhat TSM user data, but if it's like an item that's very rarely used, TSM user data might be off. So I find the TSM user data is fairly accurate, but it's more of like it's in the ballpark of what it is versus what it actually is. Where this quantity decline rate, that's a straight fact of this hour versus the next hour, because this is coming directly from Blizzard's API. The quantity over the last 6 hours has been on average declining 61 per hour. And if there's only 155 of these left, well, it's what's three
Roughly
times
2 hours. Yep.
61? Yeah, there's 2 to 3 hours, and then this thing is totally gone. Now, it's never going to be totally gone like that, but within those 2 hours, there's probably going to be a shortage or anything. Something's going to happen. Somebody's going to see this, that it's dirt cheap, and just buy it up and make it like 1,000 gold or something like that. Or it's going to completely sell out, and then some crafter who maybe is using my tool to find out that very soon it's going to go up in price is like, it's going to go up in price. I'm going to check it. And then they go on there before TSM tells them to, before Orbos Exchange or any of these alerting add-ons or apps tell them. They go on, they look at the price, because this is what it does: is point you in the right direction, and you're like, I can make this. Let me go on. And then I bet if you go on right now in game, it might already have gone up. Maybe it did, maybe it didn't, but it's something that you might want to pay attention to. And that's also why we plug in you have the option of actually getting alerts on this specific item, because it's probably going to increase in price pretty soon. And if it goes up to like 500 gold, 1,000 gold, maybe that's going to be worthwhile someone hopping on and actually crafting it.
So pretty much that's the one thing that I definitely liked, especially from the goblin side of things, is that like, so not only can we use this to be able to estimate the shortage and see when it's going to happen so that we can take advantage of it when it happens, but it also gives aggressive gold makers the option to force an intentional shortage to inflate the prices.
Oh yeah, I know many flippers and many people from the TSM flipping sales channel that they like it for this, because I mean, flipping for me, it takes a lot of time consuming. I love to flip too, and like,
Of course.
force a shortage and stuff like that. But it is time consuming for me. I'm too busy these days to sit on the auction house and spam undercut for like an. What I can do is I'm like, this is probably gonna go up in price. I'm gonna go. I have 5 minutes. I'll go. I'll make like, maybe a dozen or 20 or 30 of them. I'll put them up at like a few random price. Like maybe I'll be like, all right, how about five of them up at 200, five of them at 300, five of them up at like 1,000, and then I log back in a few hours later. I'm like, oh, they sold. Great. And that's easy gold.
Yep. And so you don't even have to risk the intentional shortage and someone else then undercutting
Yeah.
you automatically. You can just write it and see if it goes and just
Yeah.
completely stay under the radar.
Here's the thing, and I know you did ask this like later on, we can get into it, where it's like, can somebody take advantage of this? But the thing is, with this shortage, you don't have to take on the risk. You don't have to force the shortage, because according to all of the data, this is going to happen on its own naturally. Either A, nobody's paying attention to it, and it's just going to sell out anyway and go up in price because people are just buying it and people are not making it, or some other smart goblin out there is going to see, oh, it's super cheap to flip this, and I'm just going to buy up everything and take it up to 1,000 or something like that. And if I was down there and I'm like, oh, I posted a few at like 500 and 300 and 200, well, I'm going to make a lot of profit. Right now, I think you can make this for, so for this one, you throw away the grade 2s and 3s and you got 35% inspiration. So it's basically 3 times crafting cost. So I think right now it costs like 100 gold to make this right now. But if I
Okay.
if I sell a bunch for like 300 or 500,
Yeah,
that's a great profit margin.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So
And
next part, I'll leave it up to you which one you want to talk about next. Would you rather go ahead and talk about the price alerts and the input generator and then get over onto Discord, or get over to the market share overview?
Let's just go back to the search because I do just want to go into a little bit more detail about the other two things that we didn't cover real quick, which is the current price percent versus the average and the quantity percent. Because I just want to show people this is a custom, and we should show you the differences of what different items you show. So let's just talk about these two quickly because this is the key thing where this is different than a lot of other tools.
Okay.
Is that it, the point is to get there before it goes up in price. So that's what the current price above average is. So what that means that 120 is 120%. So if something on average is selling for 20%, 20 gold, we don't want to show anything that's more than 22 gold. Or if it's something, so it's only 20% above the average because we want to get there before it's up. So if you like put an extra zero on top of that, so you're looking for 1200%, and you hit search again, you'll see some different results. And then if you go and you can click the columns to sort everything. So we'll show this and then do the price versus average very last column and sort it so you get stuff that's really, really high. Yeah, like that that the horn one. Yeah, click that on Orbos Exchange and check it out. Yeah, what you'll see is this might be a great item to sell, but it's already gone up in price. And which means is, yeah, there's a shortage because whoever had a bunch of this, they let their stuff expire. So it might go up more. But you don't want to get there when it's already high. You want it to be there on February 10th. Like, look what price it was on February 10th. It was like 5 gold. Yeah, if you got it when it was 5 gold, that's where you want to be at. You want to get it then, not when it's 70 gold, you know?
Yep. And now it's sitting at, yeah, now it's sitting back up at 70 gold and just slowly declining back down again.
Yeah, yeah. So that's the whole point is by limiting it and say, I don't want things that have gone up. I want things that are cheap, not expensive, because what you want, especially if you want to flip it, is you want to find something that has low quantity and low price. So that's that first metric of it. And then we can go back and I'll explain the other one. So this is the one that really filters that, and this is the current market quantity percentage. So what that means right there is we only want to see something that is there's only half of normally what it is. Remember that one that we looked at before, and there was only 8% of it left. What we're doing is we want to only see stuff that is 50%. So change that to something like do 20% or something like that. And so I only have 50 so that we get a lot of results. But what you'll find is less items, but all of these are a lot better. So yeah, let's look at and you get the odd Shadowlands item in there. But let's look at the Barding because I think I was just looking at that one a little earlier. Yeah, so we already
There
looked
we
at
go.
the Bracer of Leech. Yeah, look at that one, and you'll see that one. It's going to be the same as the Bracer of Leech. Look, there's like none of this left. It's like yeah,
50
like right
cents.
now you could take that up from 1900 to 2200 for there's only two of them at that price. You know,
Yeah, so just
it
come
might.
come in and start posting at 22.90, and then you wouldn't even have to undercut. You could just let it ride and still make profit off
Oh
of it.
yeah, you could put that up at 5K or whatever. I mean, I would even say you take those two at 1900 if you are able to. It's only two.
Yeah.
If you sell both of them at 2200, that's like what is it, 300 something gold profit per?
And if you look back on here, I mean, how fast are they actually
Yeah, let's see what the TSM is selling. TSM says there's 30 of them
30,
sells an hour.
30 an hour?
Yeah,
So then if you come
that
back
would
over
be a
to
great one.
here, literally you could just buy all 21 of these and then just post them back up at like 4K. Look at an
Yeah.
at old price here. We have a jump here. Somebody did it here. Was
So that's a
riding on it
quantity
here.
jump. So that's the jump in quantity.
Quantity.
Look
Yeah.
back on February 5th and let's see how you see that big jump in February 5th.
Right
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Or
here.
just like or the 6th. I mean.
Yep,
Yeah.
2,500 to 3,200.
Yeah, that's really realistic that you could basically buy that up and make it like 4K or 5K
Yep.
and it's only 20. If you sit there but the thing is if you know how to flip and you're using know how to flip, if you're investing in that and you're spending like 20K to do that, don't just post and walk away. You got to sit there and you got to make sure you get your gold back because somebody's going to come in when they see it's 4K and
Of
undercut you.
course. Of
Yeah.
course.
So that's the basics of that. But yeah, and that's how you change it, and it's the same way. And we'll just do this real quick because I know you asked too. We'll also show how it changes if you change the sales per day and the value. So if you go back and search, let's go
Oh,
back one more time real quick. And so instead of let's do like maybe 2,000 as the minimum price, and we'll do like maybe 20 sales per day or like 10 sales per day. So just add 2 zeros there, and then the other one take off like just make it like 10. Yeah. And so you'll see some different stuff. And now we're only seeing really valuable stuff that we might not have seen before, like the Draconic Inspiration tool.
Yep.
It doesn't sell very fast, but there's so little of this left. Let's see how much is of this left. There's only
24%.
24% of it left. Yeah, let's check it out in Orbis. And so we're actually this is the next thing we're going to do is we're going to import the same graphs because we have the same data as Orbis. Yeah, look, that quantity just tanked because somebody made it like super duper cheap. Like they took it down to 1,500, and nobody was making it. And then now, because no one was paying attention to it, it all sold out, and now there's only like a few of them left. And this could very easily go up to 3K, maybe even. I don't think it's going to get past that block of 50 at 3K, but that's
No.
just my opinion. But I mean, it going up from
But even
you know.
even to hit it from 1500
Oh
and
yeah,
2000
yeah.
back
Look
up
at
to,
that.
yeah.
3K, it hasn't been 3K for at least like it had a little spike on the 12th, but for the most part, yeah.
Yeah,
And you
right.
see that same exact thing happened. The quantity bottomed out. There's only like 54 of
Yep.
these left, and so it went up super duper high. And so that's what we're basically doing is it's a search based on these statistics
And
to find
basically
things.
whoever had this market then, that was, if they were paying attention to something like this, then when it bottomed out on the 12th, they had what? Let's see.
They had close to
All
this amount. Yeah.
almost, I mean, I know that doesn't sound like a lot, but they had almost 6 hours of
Oh yeah.
keeping the price above 3K.
Mm. And you see how it's going back and forth, and that's 6 hours that they saw that it was. It might have been more. It might have been the hour. So it might have actually been, and give it a take because maybe it didn't catch it at the first and the last hour. Maybe it is as few as 6, but as much as 8 hours that it was like that.
All right.
Oop. Yeah. So that's just a really interesting. So that's especially if you like that kind of gameplay. If you like to flip, because flipping is very exciting and it's very fun. If it is time consuming, but oh man, it can be fun where you're like, oh, I'm gonna buy out. There's only 18 of these left. Let me buy it out. I'm making it 10,000, and then you get that sale at 10,000,
And
and it
let's
just
be honest,
oh,
to
it's fun.
do that now with the whole market all together and the commodities all together, you got to have a pretty good size pair to
Or
jump in
you
and
have
try
to know what you're
to.
doing. I mean, okay, so I did ask you a question. Maybe we should get into this later, but I did ask you a question of what in our former conversation, what is the best enchant to flip in the entire auction house? And you'd never guess what it was.
I didn't. So
It
enlighten
is
me.
it is the enchant cloak Writ of Speed.
Okay.
And let me show you. Let me see if I can find these screenshots. And I did this. Let me see. I
Tier
did this
3.
on. Yeah. If you look it
Oh,
up,
enchant
there's a
cloak.
lot of really weird stuff going on with these. So let me show you what I did. I have to just get these screenshots and I'll show them to you of what I did on January 11th. So very recently, and this is like, we were
Hey
already
Rick.
into the swing.
Hey Ricky, thank you. Yeah, so go ahead. Sorry, Indo.
Yeah, let me send these to you of just how insane some of these flips can get. Let me see
Man,
if Discord is
look
gonna
at
let you.
this. It's got
Oh,
current
this is my best friend. The
15,
thing is, it
mean
only
of
caught. Yeah.
44.
Let's see. It's not letting me send it easily. Okay, there we go. So that was the capture.
These are
Hopefully, I'm sorry.
nasty.
Oh, dude, this thing is so much fun. Let me see if I can send you. What is the most you think you could get for one of these? Because if you look at those screenshots, you'll see something very interesting.
All right, so let me
It's over in Discord.
do you care if I pull up the screenshots?
Yeah. Pull up the screenshots.
All right, let's see. I just am assuming that this is going to be disgusting.
Oh, it's gonna be glorious. Yeah, and that was basically sales on 1 week, And I was trying the other ones as well, but it just seems like the rate of speed is just ridiculously good. Basically, by flipping this one thing for 1 week, I had 1,000,000 gold profit. And I was selling as high as 5,000 gold on a green enchant.
How long ago was this?
This was only, I think, let me see. This was a month ago.
A month ago.
And you know what? Actually, I just told somebody about this recently, and they were able to get the same kind of sales out of this. Dude, this thing is just really, and I don't know why or how people buy it for 5,000 gold, but it's it's beautiful, isn't it? It's a little
But
bit beautiful.
at the same time, I mean, like,
Yeah.
what's the actual? I'll be honest with you, I have not gotten into trying to flip these. So, what's the actual like overhead cost on these? Because I
Oh,
mean, at this
so
in this one right here, you have
12
night
dust.
12
12 dust.
dust. Okay, so
So
it's
about 20 gold to make this.
okay. So right now on here, it's basically like not profitable to do it. But on yours, you're showing 709 sales at 99 gold for like 69k on this,
Oh yeah.
115k. Like, dude, these
That's more
are.
about knowing your things. But that the point is right now it's not doing that because well, it's out. The basically how I did this is I flipped it 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. Eastern time, which is when all the raiders were getting out. So it's all about timing to get a good flip and
Very
knowing
nice.
exactly when seeing these graphs and knowing you see like all those gigantic spikes where it was probably around 100 gold or something for like hours and hours and hours, and it just does that sometimes. And if you know what you're looking for, it is. And because you will find when you have a tool like Saddlebag Exchange that can just look at the pure data and see it,
Well, I
you
mean,
can just find the craziest things.
even here, just simply looking at the heat map for U.S. realms. I mean, it's like most things when it comes to rating. Unfortunately, I'll just be honest with you.
Mhm.
With my job schedule and everything, like I work mids, so I'm like 11 to 11. So I don't get that a lot of that prime time kind of hit it while it's hot kind of stuff. But I mean, if you look here, I guess I can't even say that because it's showing here all the way until Wednesday at 1 o'clock. You're talking like 4 times the current cost. So it's like
Mhm.
fit starts at 12 noon. 50 goes from 29 to 50 gold, and then is all the way up until 2 p.m. at around 44 gold. I mean, even if you're hitting it at that, that's crazy. Like that's
And this sells really fast too because it's a green enchant. It's cheap. I mean, 50 gold isn't bad when the blue is. And you know what? And here's why I picked on this that it was really good. Do you want to know what's different between the writ of speed, this, and the blue enchant, which is the homebound speed? There's only one difference.
I'm assuming that it's super minimal.
Yeah, the only difference is Hearthstone cooldown. It is an out of combat stat. So this is very
Uh,
unique. So that if you're a raider and you're on a budget, you're going to buy this instead of it because it's still 150 speed on the green, 150 speed on the blue. I mean, Hearthstone cooldown is great, but it's not essential.
but it's not worth. I mean, what's the other writ there or the blue that goes with the speed?
This is
Uh,
homebound speed. So if you look at homebound speed, yeah, and that's the thing is that it is required on your gear. Oh,
I
that's
mean,
it.
I mean,
That's it.
yeah,
Huh,
you're
look at that dive, but that probably got caught pretty soon too. That was I think that was on my
damn,
shortage thing a little earlier. Yeah,
damn.
but it's still more expensive. I mean, if you're a raider on the budget, you're not going to do the homebound speed. You're going to favorite that green,
Yeah.
and you're probably going
Oh,
to
of
buy that as well.
course, of
But
course.
this is just about knowing your thing. And look what's going on with this. Same exact thing. You look that red line; it was going down, and then suddenly got
Boom.
back up. I bet it got back up to 500 for a little while, and then some people got out and drove it back down to 125 or
And
something like that.
this is the other thing that just kills me is why do you go from 510 down to 125 and make it one jump? But that's a topic for
Yeah.
another day. That's just,
Oh, I
my
don't know. But
God,
we're just
kills
talking
me.
about the math. And look at the same pattern. Red line goes down, price goes up,
Price goes up.
gold is made. And I think I actually did. I think I posted actually. I think earlier I posted a few at 200 and 300. So I bet next time I log in, I'm gonna be like, "Hey, there's some gold," because I noticed through my tool, red line was going down. Maybe I'll put a few up at a higher price and they'll sell.
Yeah, wonder
And
if
you see that
anybody got
those,
got this
especially
sell at
that,
1900.
I don't know if I got the sale. Well, okay, so I usually do this where I'll put a few in, like, and I'll spread them out. Like I said, I'll put a few at 200, I'll put a few at 300, just in case, because you see those spikes are, especially with these enchants, are so quick
They
that
are.
the only way to really do this is to post a few when you think it's going to go up and then just hope for the best. But you're not really hoping when you use my tool, you're using math to also reassure yourself.
Yeah. And I mean, even here, you're just talking like a jump from it was 120 and then it popped down to, let's see, 198 available, and it immediately jumped up to 134. I
But
mean,
just to
not.
reiterate, let's go. Actually, click on it and just check out what's the difference of this. So if you click on the actual like little blue thing up there, the name, it'll bring you over to what's it called? The Wowhead, and you'll see the only difference between this, the combat stats are exactly the same.
Yeah.
That's just yeah, I don't. That's just a weird thing with
So
me. It's
this
not
is just
75; it's 100.
yeah. So this
The
is
only
just a
difference
super
is her
niche one.
sample.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
basically,
this
you're
all
just
the
paying
cloaks
for
are
that.
like that. So I think that's that's the only reason why I was able to make a million gold flipping is because people buy the green. The green sells just as good as the blue, but the thing is, the blue to make this, it requires inspiration. So the cost is basically 3 times crafting cost. The cost of making this is about 100 gold. The cost of making the green is 20 gold,
20.
and you can and it only takes 200 skill to guarantee a tier 3, so I can just churn out tier 3 greens, and the greens are way more profitable than the blues, you know.
Yeah.
And that's just one example of how you can use shortages as a crafter to just earn some more gold. But okay, anyway, let's get back into the tool and everything. So,
Gotcha.
I mean, I think
Let's
we
see.
kind of covered this of yeah, there's a lot of useful things you can do when you just know that using this tool and some very simple math, prices are going to go up. All right, maybe I'll make a few, post them because it might be going up. Maybe it sells, maybe it doesn't. But here's the thing: let's say you're not sure. What you can also do is now check out the top right corner, and we will talk about this later when we look in the Discord, but you'll see this view input. What it's doing is it's taking the item IDs, it's taking the current prices, and we're looking for it when the price is above. Our Discord bot uses this data and it'll actually send you alerts. And if you're not sure about anything, and that's why there are these check boxes. So if you hit the little X on the top there to get out of this view,
All
or you
right.
hit escape,
Yep.
those little check boxes were added to alert input right next to the name, all the way on the left.
Oh, right here.
You can uncheck. So let's say I don't want to do anything except for the enchant. So leave those enchants, get rid of the other things, and yeah. So we
All
only
right.
want the enchants.
All right.
Yeah, cool. And then if you look at the view input again, you'll see the other ones are gone. So you can narrow this down. So you only care like, all right, I care about these items. I only want to get alerted on these. And so then you can refine what you want to be alerted on, and then you can just wait for our bot to say, hey, the price is up now. Now is when you go on and craft this because there's some of these, like especially the epic weapon enchants, like that burning devotion, or I don't know, was burning devotion on there? But let's
Let's
say,
see. Wafting devotion.
yeah,
Yeah.
the Wafting Devotion costs like 200, 2,000 gold to craft it or something like that. I don't know, the price might have changed. And it requires inspiration, so you might have to spend 6K to get one of these, and you don't want to take the risk. Maybe you want to wait until that goes up in price, and then you want to get alerted, and then you want to hop on when it goes up in price instead of before. But the thing is, our tool will show you it might go up in price because then you can copy this to your clipboard and you can use this later. So we'll go back to this when we get to the alerts, but I think this might be a good chance to segue out and talk about the market overview because yeah,
All right.
that's kind of this in a nutshell. Is it just tells you some things that are likely to increase in price. So let's go to this. All right, so this is a very interesting thing. So I just hit straight up hit search, and then I'll get to explaining this one.
So I love this. This is probably one
Yeah.
of my favorite ones, or my favorite
Yeah,
things.
I actually just did this as an afterthought. This wasn't one of my main tools because it's super simple how this works. Is really what it's taking is it's taking the current price and it's taking the TSM price, and then it just multiplies it by the TSM sales per day value. And what you get is the current market value and historic market value, because TSM statistics are the average sales of the past 2 weeks. So it's a historic price because it's constantly going down. The current price will be less than the TSM average on average for most items, not all items. But what this is really showing you is this is the expected revenue of how much gold each individual commodity takes per day. And there is one limit, is that we only show 200 items at a time. If your search reveals more, just because the everything loads better with 200. So if anyone's familiar with the S&P 500, you might be familiar with the S&P 500 heat map. And you might even want
Yep.
to bring it up on your screen just to show everyone, like, yeah, this is very similar. And you'll get something very similar that'll show like Apple and Google and all these different things. And that's where I had this of like, oh yeah, I want to show something like this, where it's like you can see, and actually today it looks a lot like World of Warcraft. Yeah,
No, a lot of
I haven't.
reds. A lot of reds,
Yeah.
man.
Hey, not all of them. Cisco's doing all right.
Hey, look at Cisco.
Yeah, and
5%.
yeah, and you'll see some different things in our World of Warcraft. Yeah, there's a lot of red, but there's a bit of green too, and we'll talk about that specifically once we go through, because the big green block, I want to talk about that at the very end. But yeah, let's keep going
Yeah,
here. So let me just scroll to my notes.
that one I've looked into after we talked, and that has been very interesting. So I'm definitely wanting to
Oh
get
yeah,
into
I'd
that
like
one.
to definitely go into. So let me just scroll to my notes to get to. Let's see. This says shortage.
So
Let's see.
so
Shortage
let's
picture.
let's
Yeah,
do
it does.
this. Let's do this first. So
Mhm.
if you had to give me just a nice overview of kind of what the heat map is
Mhm.
beyond the S&P 500, and kind of give it an idea of like how gold makers can use this to their advantage and use all this
Oh yeah, yeah.
information.
Yeah, so I actually had a Reddit post and everything about this, but I'll give you 5 quick points to just see how to do all this. Big boxes with a big current market value are good items to craft and gather. Little boxes with small market value are bad items to craft and gather. You should gather and craft things at the current when the current price and the price overview is bright green. So if it's bright green, that's a good thing to sell because the price for that has gone up versus because it's higher than the TSM average. And you should stay away from anything that's bright red in either the quantity or the price overview. Oh, and there's one more thing. If the quantity is bright green, that's also a good thing. So you can switch from market view, and this is based on price, and you'll see there's a different button that says market quantity. So click the quantity one, and so you'll see a lot of the red items, some of them are actually green or yellow. I mean, just because you're on the dark mode, the color's a little bit off, but you can see the darker green ones and the bright green ones. These are things with low quantity. So it's the same quantity data in the shortage prediction one. It's just we're not also looking at the decline rate. So you'll see a lot of things that, hey, maybe this item, it looks really good because the price is up, and then you switch to the quantity over it and you're like, oh, there's a ton of this right now. That means because the price is high, a lot of people have been making this, posting it. So if you just post this and walk away, you're probably not going to make gold off of it.
Yeah,
You're going
but
to have to sit there and cancel scan.
look at okay, so this is I know we're going to get back to this, but I just
Yeah.
wanted to point out how stupid this is. So
Hmm.
Awakened Frost, like probably one of the
Oh
higher
yeah.
bought and sold items, is being out bought and sold.
By this random item, and we will talk about this. So I think we should go through everything, and then I'm going to have to go on this whole diet because the thing is, man, the one of the items I recently exited the market because it's just too much competition now. But I used to make the blue silken linings, and they're like the one commodity that requires this tough to primal wool, and it's like my thing that I was making. It's the only one that requires this thing because it's mostly just used for um it's used for that. It's used for like the skinning blue cap, and it's used for cosmetics. And I think that's
Yep,
why the price has gone up so much is because now people are focusing on cosmetics. It's a little bit later in
cosmetics.
the expansion, and I just have not found any farmers that have a farming guide on this. So the price has just gone up because people are not farming this, but people are buying a lot of this. Millions of these are sold each day,
I
and the
mean,
price
yeah,
is, if you look on the Oribos exchange chart, it's crazy because this is the one item that if you buy it today, and then you sell it a week later, you're probably going to make a profit. It's the one thing that even if you scroll down there, Orbos has a whole thing about the total history of this. Look at this, because how crazy was it? Imagine you were the guy that got it when it was 3 gold or 20 gold.
4 gold back in December.
It was 4 gold back in December,
You could have
man.
bought 3,000 of them back in December for 4 gold.
You could have bought it into like that whole span between December and January, because I think someone just noticed that, oh, this was cheap, I'm gonna buy it up and flip it, and no one was farming it. So it's just, and this is the one thing that I do want to make. We could even do a whole video on this at some point. But
Hindsight is 2020, but look
please,
at the
farmers, someone make a farming video for this Tuft of Primal Wool, because it sells like hotcakes,
look
and
at
it
this
gets more
quantity.
valuable every. It gets more valuable
January
every single week.
January 8th, price 18 gold, quantity 140,000.
And that's probably, I bet that's whoever, because I think you see the quantity dipping with this. I bet there's one guy that has like 500,000 of these,
Probably.
and he just keeps raising the price and raising the price, and no one's farming it, and people are buying it because they want cosmetics. Because that's, if you look, okay, so click on it, and let's just take a look at the wow head real quick on the side. And really, this is the value of the market overview: is it points out items that you would have never thought of, because when you're looking at your items, you're looking at TSM, or you're looking at something like that, and TSM shows you what you can craft. But this is just a random drop that you get by killing like the lost Argos and stuff like that.
So you can see
And
here, we can just see that the fleece pet argles. So these are probably going to be one of the ones that you would need to farm.
yeah, and so it just, but the thing is, TSM sale rates and the TSM sold per day, and this really, the value of this is, yes, it's expensive, but it's the TSM sale rate that I'm getting from the TSM API, saying millions of these sell each day. That's a value that you won't see, because most people only see the TSM stuff when they go in the actual add-on, and you can't craft this, you can't gather it. It's a random drop. For the random drops, you need a tool like ours to kind of highlight, hey, this is something that you should buy. And it was interesting, if you look like a month ago or 2 months before the glowing Titan Orb patch, that's the way the glowing Titan Orbs looked, where the glowing Titan Orbs were like 10% of the market. And that's the craziest thing, is this random item that no one knows exists is 10% of the entire US commodity market. And
Yeah.
that's the value of this market overview, is it points out, it tells you the things you would have never thought are super valuable, and are super valuable. So that's the number one thing for gold makers, is it shows you that the Tuft of Primal Wool is, you should really farm this thing, man.
Well, if you look at this too, so going back to the Ouroboros, so the same thing that you were talking about, how like quantity went up and everything here, quantity went up here, everybody started, started going up because everybody started getting super into cosmetics and stuff like that. I mean, a lot of this cosmetic drive from this span right here
Mm-hmm.
is due to the huge boom with all the cosmetics that everybody's been wanting with gray and whites. So the gray and white
Yeah.
items come back, everybody's wanting cosmetics, and now they're looking for cosmetics in Dragonflight. So this
Yeah.
is exactly what happened there.
And I don't know the exact things. It might also be that the stuff you use this for. So you have to go to specific vendors, and you use this as like, you buy the cosmetics using this. So it might also be a reputation thing of, now people have the reputation unlocked to actually be able to get the cosmetics, and they need to give the vendors primal wool to get the cosmetics. So it could also be that, and that's why it's like no one was buying it, because people were only using it for like the blue silken linings, which is a good item, but it's that's that. And then suddenly everyone hit that break point where they can actually unlock the cosmetics. I can speculate all day long as why this thing is more valuable than the awakened frost, the awakened order, all of these awakened elements that are just so universal. And this thing is more valuable than all of the awakened elements combined.
Yep.
And that's the number one way that this can make gold. But look, I want to talk about the other more common ways, because this is just that one outlier of, yeah, just knowing that this is super valuable. That's the number one thing. Or just pointing out even that, like the Volanquin horns, that those are super valuable. You saw the same thing over the past 2 weeks. The reason that thing is bright green Same thing. It's just gotten super valuable over the past 2 weeks. Maybe people aren't farming it.
So
It could be many reasons, but
so
it's a
one of
good.
my
The point is,
questions
it's a good thing to sell.
So one of my questions with this definitely is like, so it shows here. We'll just take, since we're talking about the tuft of primal wool, we'll just take that for
Mhm.
example. So my thing is like, what is the time
Oh, yeah,
frame of the heat map? So like it shows here that it's a percent change of
yeah.
647%. Is that
Okay, let me.
since the
Yeah.
beginning or what?
Oh yeah, let me get that. So that's just the TSM average. The TSM average is the average price over the past 2 weeks.
Gotcha.
Uh, Yeah, so it's the past 2 weeks versus the current price. So you see the current price of 323 gold is a lot more than TSM's average of 112 because 2 weeks ago I bet it was not that expensive. And again, this is TSM average, so TSM gets its data only from TSM users. So if the one guy who's selling all of this at 300 gold is not a TSM user or something for some odd reason, then the numbers might be a little bit off or something. But we know that just from the TSM users alone are selling at least 1 million of these a week
Yes.
or a day.
A
This is per
day.
day.
Yeah.
This is per day, not per week. 1 million per day. It's making 300 over 300 million a day revenue.
Yep.
Yeah. So that's just a wild. But let's talk about a more realistic thing. So okay, so let's go back out and let's go into the search and show how normally you would use this. So let's say you're an enchanter and you want to figure out, well, what should I make or what should I put my skill points into? So that's a very good thing. So you can go to item category and you can switch it over to item enhancements. And so let's say I'm considering I have like a bunch of skill points. Do I put my skill points into maybe the cloak line so I can get the devotion of speed, or do I want to put it into the shoulder line and get the illusion? So let's look at the cloaks and let's look how valuable those are. So let's hit search, and it does look very red. But let's look at the mark quantity, and we say, okay, well, do I want to do like a cloak line? Do I want to get enough points so I can do one of these speeds? So the bracers might have been better because that you actually need to invest skill points in, but this is still an investment because this is your time because these are based off of reputation.
Yep.
You could see that the quality three cloaks, all three together, each one of them, they're kind of selling for about maybe 500k total. So if you put a bunch of points into your cloak line to improve your cloaks, um, these are decent markets because they're making at least 500k a day. So they're pretty good to. I mean, it's today. It's just not maybe the best of days, um, and definitely a bit interesting, especially when you compare my little
Well,
writ of speed. But let's now look at a different one. So the shoulder line is a very interesting line because, and let me explain this as we're going. These are temporary illusions. So this is just a temporary. It's a mog that like lasts only a certain amount of time.
yep.
So it's optional. It's a consumable. Look how small these market values are by comparison. You probably don't want to invest a lot of stuff into the cloak, into these shoulder illusions, because even the best ones are only making like 12k a day. And here's the main thing: there is one of these called the illusion of order. Now I'd just hit Control F with your keyboard and just search for the grade 3 illusion of order. Just look for order and let's see. Do you
That's
even see it? Now look at the quality 2 order at the very bottom.
okay.
There's only 23 of these selling a day on the quality 2s. The reason this isn't selling, now if you go back to the search, you'll see that we're filtering out anything that doesn't sell for at least 20 a day or 10 a day. Less than 10 of those illusion of orders sell per day, which means, and it takes 20 skill points just to unlock this thing. And enchanting, there's so many different more useful things that you could put 20 skill points in. And I know this myself as someone that put 50 points into the disenchanting line, and now those shards. I mean, okay, to be fair, I
it
that was my
hey
first thing, and I was there at the beginning. I remember one magical night when those shards were worth 800 gold, man.
hey
Uh,
look, you're talking to somebody that put all of their points into prospecting, so
yeah,
you
so
know,
you're in the same
I
boat.
feel
You're in
your
the same
pain.
boat.
I feel your pain.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And so that's the thing of like there are a lot of that's the number one thing you want to do, especially with this system, is you want to know what not to put your points in. So that's a good thing, is that from here you can see those 20 points. And if you just look on TSM, or you look on like the Craft Sim like scanner, you'll see that it might be profitable. If you look up on the market on Orbos Exchange, you look at the that's a weird. I bet that. So that might just be a quick bug. That might be nothing popped up. So what are you looking for?
I was just
Oh,
looking at the
because
head.
there are no head
Oh,
enchantments. So that is
oh,
one
that's
thing.
why I forgot.
Is that but okay? So, and there's another thing that I will show you with this. So you see commodity items at the very bottom. Uncheck that. No, very bottom. So this now shows you your local market board. So I want to show you something interesting with this. Change the minimum sales per day. So just do everything, and change the minimum sales per day to like 1, and then
Okay.
change the average price to like 10,000. And then let's look at everything, and just switch back the item. Now you won't find any results because all of the enchants are commodities. So let's leave the categories as is. Uncheck the commodity box, and then make the sales super low and the average price really high. And you'll notice that you're going to get different results. Look how much green there is. So this is your local server, and these are items that aren't on the region-wide commodity market. So so this is also a really interesting thing of you want to see what's actually valuable to sell on your local server, and so you'll see the most valuable BOAs and recipes and everything. And the elemental lariat. Do you know much about the design elemental lariat?
Of course.
Do you know how? Are you one of the people who have seen in the TSM channel how everyone is obsessed with flipping this thing?
Of course. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. So you'll see, like, it's got the lariat. It's got a bunch of cool things on here that it's got BOAs that you might not have heard of before, but you're like, hey, this is a good item. Maybe I want to check this out. I want to set some kind of alert up for it, and maybe it if somebody's like, oh, this is worth 1 million, I'm going to post it for 100K because I just want to sell it really quick. You can get on there and you can snipe it up and
Honestly,
sell
this
it.
is one that I haven't heard of here. Brawlers, Earthen. Let's
Yeah,
see.
check that out. I bet this is like one kind of like, yep, BOA. Let's see, what's the eye level on this thing? I bet this is like a raid drop or something.
389.
Yeah, no, that's a good item.
Yep. Raid drop.
Yeah, pretty good rate drop. And look at that price overview. Where, hey, imagine you got that price when it was like 100K. Right now it's up to 300K. Look at that. So that's the next thing that we're working on, is basically getting that same kind of shortage thing, because that's really going to be great for flipping these items that you can't craft them. And you'll find a lot of things that on here that are, really interesting that you may not have considered before, but they might be items. And that's the whole point of this market overview, is to the same way you saw that tuft of primal wool, you never heard of that, but it's super valuable. I bet that at least half of the most valuable things on here, you've never heard of them, but because we're doing the math at SaddleBag Exchange and we're showing this to you, now you will be aware of it.
So one thing that I would, and this is probably off on a little bit of a tangent, but I don't think I've ever
Mhm,
told you this, but one of my huge things is I love transmog, selling transmog, crafted
mhm.
transmog, farm transmog, all that. So one thing that I would absolutely love to see is
This but
commodities
for trying. Mhm.
the
This
commodity
for trans.
shortage, but for transmog, because
Yeah.
then
So.
the ability to see like, oh,
Mhm,
my server only has
mhm.
one of these now. Like, I need to go
Oh
and
yeah.
farm this.
Exactly. So that's what we're all working on. So let me explain why this is Dragonflight specific, and let me just show you, because our system can very easily do absolutely everything. We are actually pulling the full market board data or the full auction house data for absolutely everything. But I'm only putting in my database items that have an item level, or an item ID of 185,000 and higher, which is the only Dragonflight items and some odd Shadowlands item. All I have to do is take out that if statement, and it has everything. It has the whole entire World of Warcraft market. But the reason why I actually have it just doing Dragonflight right now is just so we can speed it up, so I can test on it,
Of course.
and so I can do it. And and those are some Patreon goals because right now it takes about 2 minutes for me to populate the entire data set, and I want to keep that fast so that the basically I get my data, I upload it into the database in 2 minutes. The alerts go up a minute after that, and within 3 to 4 minutes after the data is out there, you get an accurate alert. And that's a Patreon goal of ours is that there's a better database that we could afford that's a lot more expensive, but that CPU would allow us to, instead of taking 10 minutes to upload the entire data set, we'd be able to do it in 2 minutes, and then we'd get fast data. Because that's a key thing is that we don't want data where it's too stale. So that's why we're just specifically looking at this very select group to keep everything nice and speedy. But we could very, very easily do the whole transmog market. And we are actually working on this of something that instead of just doing like taking the data, putting it in a database so you can look at it on the website, having it being able to just stream things directly to you and have you be able to run this as like a standalone tool. That lets you basically get all of the data within a few seconds, and then you have the fastest API sniper in town. So that's actually the next project I'm working
That would
on.
be awesome. I can't wait for that.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. And even like specific things like we're gonna design it so that it can snipe the BOA. So my goal is by next raid tier, I want something that can find here's a BOA with a high item level that has tertiary stats and everything on it. And somebody sold it for 100K, buy that immediately and snipe it up because that thing's worth 1,000,000 gold.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's where that
And
would
so those
be awesome, is to be able to find that and be able to find those dips in the market when the quantity is getting low so that you can
oh
buy
yeah.
it and reset.
Yeah, so definitely for transmog, that is something I want to do, but I know that's a lot more difficult because this is probably only 10% of the entire auction house in our database, which is just the Dragonflight stuff. The other 90%, that's the stuff we just have to, we got to work on. It's possible, but right now I'm just trying to keep it focused so that it's usable for more people. Because I think, yeah, definitely the commodity market and the current Dragonflight stuff that's more useful right now for the vast majority of players.
For sure.
But yeah, the transmog market, it's definitely a little bit more interesting. And you might want some alerts for that, which may be a good transition. Let me just double check if there's a. Oh, well, let me also explain what those green prices are and what is the spiking, stable, crashing, and decreasing on
Yeah,
this. Let me just explain
absolutely.
that real quick. Okay, so this is really really simple. If something is spiking, it means that that change, the quantity the percent change. You see that column over to the left,
Yep.
quantity. That just means it's over 60%.
Okay.
Yeah. So when it's increasing, it's dark green. It's 60% to 15%. So it's gone up in price, but not as much. Um, Stable is yellow, and that's 15% to negative 15%. So it's like the price is basically close to the TSM average, maybe a little higher, a little lower, but not a crazy change. Decreasing is dark red, and then crashing is bright red, and that's why, because this is World of Warcraft, we're into the expansion, very deep into it, um, and you see that everything is very red right now because this is everything has that's WoW was a perma bear market where the first night everything is crazy when you go on the auction house, and then it's still great the good week. The first 2 weeks, it's good again after the raid finally releases, and then from there it's just a downhill spiral until the next raid tier comes out, and then everything's going to be green again.
Yep.
And also, it's the day we're looking at. We're looking at a Thursday night. Um, Actually, around this time, you might see some enchants getting more expensive, but if you looked at this on a Tuesday, or especially after a long downtime, like imagine we had an 8-hour downtime where they were doing server maintenance, a lot of stuff is going to get, expire. A lot of people are going to be busy working and all that stuff. When the servers go on and people start buying stuff on a Tuesday, you're going to see a lot more green. But it's also the time of day.
Yep.
Except for these
Absolutely.
weird things like the stuff, the primal wool that people just haven't been paying attention to, and that you really should. So, yeah, yeah. I mean, but these are good items, and this gives you a direction to go in. But Really, I mean, for me, these are good to give you an idea. Here are things you should sell, and X, Y, and Z. But what are the best things to sell, and how should you sell them? When really it's about when, and that's what I'm telling you right now. It's not what you sell, but when you sell it, and you want to sell it during those price spikes. So you might want something
Like a
that
price alert.
alerts you. And yeah, that's basically what I'm getting to. Yeah, price alerts. So that's the main thing that we have that keeps the server running. And right now, anyone who wants this, it's all free and everything. We're planning on making it a Patreon feature because if you go on our Patreon and support us, you automatically get the role that lets you do this. But basically, it's just price alerts. So what you do is, search for an item by name. So you pick something that you sell.
Let's see. So let's just do the rid of speed.
Yeah, do the rid speed.
Oh.
Did you spell it wrong or something? Maybe it's enchant rid of speed. Just do speed and let's see what comes up.
Oh, there we go.
Oh, there you go. Oh, yeah, that's why I was saying because you have to actually click it from the drop down list.
Yep.
Okay.
My
Yeah.
bad. Let's see.
Do the quality 3 because that's the only one we
Quality
care about.
3. Let's see the cloak. I'm trying
That
to
one,
find the
yeah.
cloak.
Oh, that's the bracer. We want the cloak. Oh, it's a.
Right there.
There we go. Yeah, and let's say you want to be alerted when it's above 1,000 gold. Why not? Why not? Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if it's 1,000 gold, you want to do that, so you add that in, and then let's say you're on. So I'll change that to your own home server. And so if you do want region-wide price alerts, it actually does that. So if you want to get alerted anywhere, it also does that as well. So like I have some person that they wanted to be alerted whenever any elemental lariat was available anywhere for 300k. They want an alert. If you just erase your server, then it does a region-wide alert for
Nice.
single server items. For this, it's region-wide, so it's whatever. But yeah, this is the same alert. So then you copy this to your clipboard, and that's why we have that little copy button. You can copy like that, or you can click. You see that copy button right up at the top, or the
Oh
next
yeah,
to
there you go.
yeah, that does it too. And then what you're gonna do is go into copy, go into other, and you'll see our little Discord link. So if
Let's
you
see.
see on the left tab, other Discord, yeah, it's gonna bring you there, and then I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna just what you gotta, and we'll do this thing. So you'll join the Discord, and then let's see when it pops up. Yeah, show me when you're in, and then you got to do this because everyone's got to do this too.
Let's see. Hold
Go
on.
over to the free trials and just say I want a free trial. I'm a WoW player. You'll see it right up at the top.
All right.
Eh, yeah, so let's see. Oh, I
So,
see. I see you're in. So go to the Discord. So let me show your Discord thing. Because yeah, it's kind of a manual process right now because we only get like a few people in a day. So I just do this all manually whenever anyone asks.
all right. So
Uh,
where am I going?
go to the Discord now, and you'll see my Discord thing popped up.
It looks like I'm
I,
in now.
I don't see it on your screen though, so I don't know if it's on your stream.
Oh yeah, yeah. It shows that I'm in.
Okay. Well, anyway, all right. So what you're gonna want to do is you'll see this free trials channel and just say, "Hey, I want access to the World of Warcraft
Oh,
Discord
request
alerts."
free trials.
Yeah. 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 And so I just wanted you to do this because I want everyone to do this. And then what I'll do is I'll just add the roles in that lets you do this because you do need to get that little Patreon role. And I just auto add that. And that's what if you do want to support us on Patreon, it happens automatically, and then you don't even have to ask me if you want to be antisocial. That's totally cool. You can either choose to be social and you could ask me, hey, I want to use your alerts, or you'll be like, I don't like people. Here, take my money. That's fine too. It helps us keep the servers running. And then I'm like, there you go. And there you go. And you're in. So now you can do this in any channel, but that's why we have the bot commands channel. So you could just go to any channel in the Discord and then just type /wow.
So
And
we'll just
maybe
go
share
bot
yeah,
logging for
maybe
WoW.
share yeah, and if you could fix your like little Discord streamer, because I'm just still seeing your Chrome window. I don't see your Discord.
Oh, that's what's throwing it off. Hold on a sec. Let's see.
Yeah.
So, well,
Yeah, because I just want to see the process, make sure you see, so I can comment on the whole thing. It's pretty
Let's see
Pretty
here.
simple. Yeah. Yeah.
So switch
Up
this
there.
over and
I'd you share your entire screen or something. That's usually what I do.
there we go. I think that'll work.
Let's see. Watch this. There we go. So I'm double. So that's good. Okay. So now, anywhere, just do slash file, and you have to type it.
All right, so we're gonna go over to the WoW section here, and then go down to the bot.
Oh, don't do that. No, you can't do that. So this tells you when our database is updating.
Oh, okay. So is
Yeah.
it the
So you
bot
can do it.
command?
Sure, you can do it in that channel.
Okay.
You can do it in any channel that you can type in.
So then we just do. Okay.
Yep. And then do price register.
Price register.
Mm-hmm. And then enter. And then paste in your JSON there. And then submit. Boom. And now you're done. And if the rate of speeds ever goes up to over 1,000, you'll get a Discord alert.
Nice.
Pretty simple.
All right.
And then maybe stop the Discord stream because I'm double talking.
All right, I'll stop the Discord stream now.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Okay, and then I can just explain. So the other thing that we have that we're working on right now is the in-game add-on, and that's the other WoW command that you'll see, and that's the undercut alerts. And let me go through that a little bit too, because, like I said, this is like the super like. Okay, so we have so many awesome things we've designed for Final Fantasy, but this is the one that it's just such a quality of life thing that in Final Fantasy, because Universalis is crowdsourced, it's constantly updating whenever there's an update, whenever you're undercut in Universalis, we're super easy. It's super easy to pick that up and just tell you you're undercut. Go on, update your auctions. In World of Warcraft, we don't have that because we don't have seller data or anything like that. We just have prices. So what I do is we filter it. This doesn't work for commodities because basically, if you post a commodity and walk away, you're undercut. You just got to assume that you're already undercut, right?
Pretty much instantaneously.
So we stop doing commodities. But if you're doing something else, if you're doing local server stuff, like you're flipping the lariats, you got
Yeah.
recipes, you got stuff like that. And especially something like that where it's a drop or something that people can't just spam craft. That's what the undercut alerts are great for, because if you flip and I actually like to do the Crimson Combatant recipes are really good because you can get them when they're super cheap. The other night, me and a friend were looking at some recipes, and there was this one Crimson Combatant recipe. There were only 2 on the auction house in our server, and they were for 75 gold each. So we're like, that's awesome. Let's buy those up and we'll just make it like, I don't know, 5K, 10K. And they both sold, but one of them got undercut from 10K to 5K, and our alert caught this. It told us, go in, update your auction, and then we were able to sell the other one.
The
So
one reason why I think it would be really awesome once we get the old stuff back into the database as well is because, like, specifically talking about a pattern.
transmog.
So well,
Oh yeah.
just because of old transmog patterns, because there was specifically, I just recently moved a character from Storm Rage over to Bleeding Hollow, and I had like 4 or 5 of the Star Belt patterns that I had collected from Storm Rage, and I bought them for like 30 to 40K each, and I've already sold 2 of them for over 300K. So it's just, it'll be ridiculous. And back on to what you were talking about before with the arbitrage, like the
Oh, and
arbitrage.
just pointing out some other stuff on the site. Should we also just go through the last 3 little tools, because we have that on the site right there, where we have server-to-server trading search on there.
Yeah, absolutely. So let me
Yeah.
get back over to there.
Yeah. So let me close the stream and let me maybe stream your browser so I could see that. And then like we
Let's
do
see.
have that, so you can see that. It's only for Dragonflight items right now, just because it's literally we change one line of our code, and the alerts get a little bit slower, but we could very easily make this work for everything. And I'm thinking of like a bunch of different ways to do this, but for right now, I'm just trying to make this useful to a lot of people. So yeah,
Oh
if you go
yeah.
down to the bottom, server to
Oh,
server trading search.
I'm just talking about for future. I think this is awesome.
Oh, no, we're definitely going to do that in the future. That's like a main goal of ours is to get it working for everything. Yeah, pick the server you're going to, and then you could just do that. And right now, you'll see something like super high values, price, whatever X Y Z. You know, so go to
Let's
So
do Bleeding Hollow, and then we'll go to.
yeah, Storm Range or whatever. You got to pick it, yeah, and then search it, and you'll find a few items that out of stock. So these are things that are just not even sold on that server that you can do. And so these are like, maybe you lower the price a little bit because 100,000 is still kind of high these days. Make it like maybe 10,000, 50,000. Yeah, that should be good.
5,000. Let's see. All right, there we go.
Yeah, you get some stuff.
Yeah, all smoky.
Yeah, simple. It's pretty simple. Like I
Yeah.
think TSM has something similar for pets because pets you can actually arbitrage. This is like only if you're transferring servers is this kind of useful. That bronze grip wrappings though, don't fall for that. Let me also this is something that I actually this was the example I was going to use for market overview of like, hey, should I craft this or something like this? Because I'll give you one example. The like I said, the blue silken linings, those sell pretty well. And if you look at the market overview, you can see like, oh, like 1,000 of those sell per day. They're pretty good. The bronze grip wrappings are they look very similar because they're very similar. They require chrono cloth versus azure weave bolts. They're an embellishment. You can actually use the little embellishment thing to save extra regions on it. So you might be like, hey, let me make a bunch of these. But if you actually look at the grade 3 grip wrappings on the commodities market overview, you'll see only 16 of those sell per day. So you probably
uh,
don't want to burn like but here's the thing.
Target
If you're selling the
18K.
pattern, yeah, if you're selling the pattern might, hey, you might actually make a lot of gold off of that. So let's see, what was the home servers
I mean, you're
18K,
talking
the new
18K to
servers,
44. Yeah.
yeah, that's still profitable. And hey, that's still a skill point. And a skill point is where that skill point, if that you need that one skill point to get into something new, that's gonna just really be good for you. That might be worth 30K to somebody. Or
Yep.
that might be 50K to somebody, and it doesn't matter to them if they're never gonna make this again. If it's a skill point, it's a skill point. So that's why, especially right now, patterns are such a good thing to flip because every single pattern in Dragonflight is valuable because every pattern is a skill point, which means every pattern can be flipped.
Yep.
Yeah. So
I like
yeah,
this.
I think that about covers all our features, and then we'll
All
just
right.
very quickly you can go to like the commodity shortage finder because those are just the last two things. It's the second to the bottom, third to the bottom. No, yeah. Those they look very similar to the other ones. Yeah, you just hit search, and I'll go through this really quick. This is like my original thing of like, what can I find, and I can buy 2 of them to make a profit off of, or something like that, or like what could I buy up everything and see. So let's even see like what's the sulfurous incense? How much is that worth? So I never quite got the math right for this one because you have to put it in. Let's see what's the cost to bring that up. Average
Cost is
price.
1400. Price is
Wait,
16.
what? Are there only 10 of these left? Hold up, hold up. Hit Ouroboros Exchange. Let's look at this thing real quick. And you actually have some people that swear by this and said, oh, there's only 63 of these left. Look at that. There's only 63 of them. For 18K? Sulfurous. Oh, wait, no. This isn't the one that gives you inspiration, is it? This is just the little optional one.
Yep.
Soothing.
This is not the
Okay.
yeah.
But like, let's say that this was one of them. It might be it. And then these are just like some other things that people like. Yeah, like, look at that one. Chronic resourcefulness. You could buy. Let's see. And the point with this one is you want to basically make a profit when 2 sales. So yeah, you could buy those 2 that are up at 1,500, flip to 2,600,
Yeah.
and then sell them, make 1,000 gold off of each one.
And
Easy profit.
if you're just sitting here looking at it, I mean, even if you start getting undercut, you'll probably make a sell by the time you reach like 2K. So you're
Yeah,
still
and
looking at
that's
a
the thing.
decent profit.
With that one, I just wanted super safe flips where it's like, no matter, it's either stuff that's so cheap that it doesn't matter if you buy 30 of them. If you buy 30 of them at 30 gold, you flip to 1,000 gold. You sell one of them, you make a profit. So this is like a more simplistic, just looking at the raw numbers. What can you buy uh, a bunch of and just make an easy profit? So let's see. Oh, look at the Alexandrites. There's a lot of opportunities with these with the quality ones and twos. This you have to see because you have to compare it to the other prices. Look at the bunch at 70 and 100. You know, you could technically, like, let's say this was the grade 3 and not the grade 1. Let's say this was the best one. Like, okay, so hit on Orbos, everything up to 100 and see, let's see how much it costs. So you're just going to buy assume you were going to buy everything up to that 3,000 and then sell it 3,000. And then scroll down in Orbos and let's see how much that would cost. 4,000. But let's just in theory, let's say that this was a good item that you could say people would buy this for 4,000 gold or 3,000. You pay 4,000, you buy this up, after 2 sales you have profit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now this realistically isn't going to do it for that, and that's where game knowledge also comes into play.
Yeah.
With this one. But this is just a fun little neat tool, and we do the same thing for the local shortages, local server items versus commodities. So if you do the other one on that list in the sidebar, it also shows. I mean, you might actually find like some recipes and stuff like that that are good to flip. Yeah, in SaddleBag. So you see how you're on the commodity shortage finder on the far left bar. There's the local market one. Hit that and let's say change this to like a super low sales per day.
All right.
Or actually,
let's see.
yeah, just change it to like 2 Yeah, do like 2, and then hit it. And so what you might find is those are whatever, but scroll down to what we can just totally buy out. Yeah. So these are things that you could flip up a little bit. I don't know if I did quality or anything on these, but this is just kind of like a little example of like, hey, look at that Pioneers thing. You could buy for 175, make it 2K or something like that. Where these might not be the best items because this is something that I actually made before I knew the whole system and everything. But yeah, it's something that hey, you could buy up that one at 100 gold, make it 200. That's 100 profit, or buy up both of them, making 300.
Yep.
Yeah. You get profit in 2 sales. Very simple. But look down there. If you scroll down for the things that you could totally wipe out, look at all the Crimson Combatant stuff. Yeah, Crimson Combatants
Medallion. Yep.
Oh no. If that was a plan, you might be able to do that. I don't think you're gonna be able to do that one.
Yeah, with for it being a trinket. Well, actually,
maybe. And see, that's the thing. Like maybe, but the point is, the search found it where maybe you wouldn't have been looking at this Crimson Combatant medallion. This thing might sell for 3K. You might be able to get some profit off that.
Yeah, even if you came in and you were able to get it to sell for like 1,500.
Yeah.
For those, you'd
still
be solid.
Yeah. Nah. And so that's the thing is that our searches, it does some very unique searches that you might not find other places. And it's just a lot of other opportunities, especially if you are a flipper and you like to do that and play that way. This is all for you, man. This is all you.
All right, so now let's move on. Let's talk about the upcoming. So upcoming with like we talked about, you guys have a dev now for the in-game add-on and moving toward the in-game add-on. So
Okay. So let me scroll down to that and talk about that. So okay. So like I said, it's functional now. Actually, I have a fix that I'm about to put in right now. So right now, what it was doing, it was taking the server name and using that, but it only works for the English version. If you're a European or something and you have a different language, it messes it up. So the next fix, and then after this goes out, it's going to be totally useful for undercut alerts. Is now we're using the server IDs instead. And so it's going to be cross all languages. Right now, if you have the English language version of World of Warcraft, undercut alerts will work for you. Give it a few days, and then we'll have it working for everyone. And then we'll talk about what else we're going to put into the add-on, because the very next step is that same price alert generator doing that. So like maybe you can get price alerts, and it'll just pick like, here are things I can craft. What do I want to get price alerts on that? stuff like that. And basically, our goal is we're going to have a helper app similar to TSM that's going to download our data sets every hour. And then you're going to basically be able to do almost everything that you're doing in the website right now, but you'll be able to do it in the add-on instead because people like add-ons instead of websites.
So then basically the price alerts that you set through Discord, you'll then be able to set them through the in-game add-on and then get them within the game.
Yeah, I think there is something that, and we still got to look into it. But I think like a major thing we want to do is like right now in game, you have to pull up your auction house. You have to then click a button, get that JSON data, copy it, and then paste it into Discord. Actually, we're thinking of an automatic system where as soon as you open up your auction house, it's just going to automatically happen. You don't even have to press a button or anything, and
Oh,
it's just going to
nice.
automatically set up your undercut alerts. Now, I just had a question for you. For your questions, were you asking, are you going to get the alerts as an in-game message versus a Discord message?
Yes.
No, that is not possible. I'll tell you why. And this is also the reason that sometimes you might notice the TSM data is very off if you play a long time.
Yep.
How World of Warcraft add-ons work is TSM and their helper add-on write the TSM data into a file inside of your World of Warcraft add-ons folder. That file is only loaded when you start up your game or you reload your UI. So to get price alerts, you would basically have to reload your UI once per hour. So we could also do that as like have a little alert that comes up of like, hey, it's time to reload your UI if you want price alerts. And
I
then
think
you
that
would be
would be
able to get them.
awesome.
Yeah, yeah, and then you could do that in game, but it would just there is a
You would have to
manual step,
reload.
and
Yep.
it does require you to reload your UI, but you would be able to then get that.
Yeah, that
So
would
it's
definitely
all
be awesome, but
possible.
it does have the
Yeah,
steps in between, but that would be great to be able to get
yeah,
that in game.
yeah, 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 and that's something we do want to work on. So we do have some devs, but both of them are like kind of a little bit like we don't have a super senior dev that can just take hold because really that's what I would need. So the actual website, what you're looking at right now, I do not do this website. This is like our React.js dev, Old Ben. His Discord name is literally Old Ben. He does all the Discord. He does all the website React.js stuff. I just work on the API, the backend, basically everything else, and his website just reads the API and then turns it and makes it all pretty like this. That's the one thing I really need is like a super senior like add-on dev who can just take charge of the add-on and like just make it so that I don't have to learn Lua anymore. I can just make cool features and I can keep pushing cool features out and making cool stuff, and then somebody can just translate this into an in-game add-on so that people can just use it the way they want to. Like, and that's the major thing that I really want to do, making all these Reddit posts and talking to you and everything, is that that's the one thing that helps me more than anything else and will help everyone who's using this app. If you're a developer and you work with add-ons and stuff, please, for the love of God, help me because we want to get this in game, but man, it's time consuming. Yeah, yeah. Also, Python and MySQL devs for the API and the database and everything. That would really help me out because really, what I want to focus on is I want to focus on playing the game and making cool trading searches like these. But all the time that I have to spend in like working with databases and doing React JS and working with add-ons in Lua, that
Takes away
slows
from
me
that.
down. And then I can't make all the cool tools that I want to make because I've got to just do website stuff. If I get and now it's starting to pick up a little steam or starting to get a little bit of attention. As soon as I get like the right people who can help me do this add-on and this database stuff, then I can just there's so much more cool stuff I want to do because I've been looking at these Orbos exchange and the Undermine journal stuff for a long time. Too much time, to be honest. But I know a lot. And this just looking at this right here, do you know what the story that these lines tell?
Oh, the
Because
one I'm
these
looking at
lines
now?
this tells a story. And it might not be obvious to you, but to me, I can see exactly what's going on here. And I want to be able to tell the story. And I want to be able to have a code that finds it and describes it. And I totally can. But man, I do not have the time for that because I still have to make that. There's so many steps involved in doing that. But if I have people to help me build it out, then basically what you're seeing here is you have an oligopolist that controls this market and is setting the prices, changing it, and when their stuff expires, that's when the prices go around. And there's just so much cool stuff that you can see in these lines that I see, and I just have to make it so that other people can see it. But the time that it would take to make this, I still have to do like a bunch of add-on and database stuff, so I can't even get to this next thing I want to do, which is a whole nother. There's so many things I want to do, but need help to get there. So internet, please, send me developers to help me out. Yeah.
Well, so then that covers pretty much one of my final questions of what you kind of need to help continue to develop
Yeah.
the exchange and everything. So, um, how, if anybody is seeing this and they're a developer and they're interested in reaching out, how can they reach out to you?
Yep. Join the Discord and just message me. Get message me on Reddit or something. I have Reddit posts. I'm on the TSM Discord. I'm in your Discord as well. Um, find me and just talk to me, or find you and have you talk to me.
Absolutely.
Somebody.
Anybody, you can
Yeah.
reach out to Indopan, you can
Yeah.
reach out to me, you can DM me. I'll be able to get you connected with them,
Yeah.
and we'll get you set up if anybody's interested.
Yeah.
So,
And,
is there anything that you can think of that we haven't discussed so far that
yeah.
you would like to cover?
Yep. And let me just round it out, and let me just clarify real quick. There are three main categories of devs we're really seeking. Um, Add-on and Lua devs that's the most important ones, because we want to make this add-on and we want to make it awesome. That's the key thing. We have two of them right now, but they're kind of like, they know the basics, but they're not like, we need like a someone who really is experienced in this stuff to kind of also have a good direction to the project as well. And just the more people, the merrier. We love to just have people on and just work with it. That's the main thing. Um, React JS devs are helping us make the website, but we have a few, so those are good. The main thing that would really help me is I'm doing all of the database and all the Python. So if anyone knows Python and MySQL, uh, that's going to help me out a ton. So really, those are two key things: Lua for the add-ons, Python and MySQL for the rest of everything. And if you know React JS too, that's great. You can help us with the website because we still have stuff to do with that. And then yeah, that covers about everything for World of Warcraft. And there's one thing, and I want to just leave this kind of as a hanging thing to maybe talk about it in the future, because I know you did mention some Final Fantasy stuff as well, and there's probably a bit of overlap with your viewers and people in your Discord. I've even seen that play Final Fantasy as well. Everything that we've made, if you think the things that we have made for World of Warcraft are crazy and insane and awesome, this isn't even scratching the surface of what we do for Final Fantasy. We have the absolute craziest stuff for Final Fantasy. So I would maybe in the future love to have this same kind of talk where we'll talk about the Final Fantasy feature set, because a lot of the stuff, as you've seen before, a lot of the tools like the undercut alerts, the server to server trading, those were originally Final Fantasy tools. That's not our best thing. None of this that I've shown you so far is the best Final Fantasy thing, because we do not have that public. That is kind of a hidden secret thing only for our Patreons and our Discords. But I will give you the rundown of this if we have another kind of talk like this about the absolute incredible thing that we've made in Final Fantasy that is guaranteed to earn you like you could earn hundreds of millions of gil each day in Final Fantasy doing this one crazy thing that we've made. So maybe we should leave that as like kind of a hanging thing, and maybe one day we'll talk about some Final Fantasy stuff.
Sounds good. So we'll leave it at that. And the last thing that I just want to end on is if there's any new updates, new features, news, changes, anything like that, and if people want any kind of more exclusive features, or if they just simply want to support you, what's the best way to do that?
Patreon. Yep, it's on the website. It's in the Discord. It's everything. Yeah, and you can see like on the website, it's at the very bottom. You click that, and the thing is, if you like I said, if you want to be antisocial, you can just go on. The $3 a month gets you all the WoW features right now. Um, And really, the $5 and $20 months, those are for the right now. We have that designed for more advanced features for Final Fantasy, but I think this like fancy like fastest API sniper in the land, that's probably going to go in the $5 or $20 month tier, probably the $5 tier because I want people to use it, and it's going to work for transmog and everything. Uh, but yeah, that's kind of our plan. So if you want to support us, yeah, you can join if you really like what we're doing. Yeah, give us $5 or $20 a month. Every dollar helps for the serve. But if you just want to help us out right now, $3 is fine. And if you just want to test it out and help us try it and help us edit it, if you just hop in the Discord and ask, "Hey, can I do the WoW stuff?" Right now, anyone who joins the Discord at this moment in time, it's free forever. You have these alerts that are free forever. Eventually, we might start charging people for it for World of Warcraft, but right now it's free. Hop in our Discord and get price alerts because they are really awesome.
All right, man. Well, I think we'll end it at that, and then until the next time we talk about all the other fun stuff, I really appreciate you having you on.
Yeah, yeah. And I'd say one last thing. I challenge you to rid of speed. Flip the rid of speed sometime,
I
man.
think I'm gonna have to
Yeah,
give it a shot.
yeah, yeah. Look it up. Use my shortest things. Find when there's like none of it left, and flip it, and get one of those 5,000 gold sales on the rid of speed, man. You can do it. Anyone can do it. Take
All
the
right,
rid of speeds challenge.
sounds good, man. I
All right.
appreciate you having you on. All right.
All right. No, I appreciate it, and yeah, hopefully helps get a little attention and maybe some developers. So I really appreciate everything. I'll hope you have a good night, man.
Yep, you as well.